It's your cross. No one can carry it for you. Hello friends. Believe everything is going good with all of us, even though a lot has been happening around the world. The war in Ukraine, strange and extreme weather conditions in Europe at the moment, and etc. But our comfort comes when we understand and when we accept that it's a part and parcel of our own actions, which in turn is a part of the bigger picture. So let's just be peaceful and positive. All right? Well then, for our today's message, let us look into the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verses 16 and 17. John chapter 19, verses 16 and 17. If possible, can we all read it together? Verse 16. Then Pilate handed Jesus over to be crucified, and the soldiers took him away. Verse 17. Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, which in Hebrew is called Golgotha. I'll just read verse 17 again. Please concentrate. Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, which in Hebrew is called Golgotha. Now, we all know this historic event of the crucifixion and the resurrection of Christ. But that's not our message for today. Our whole focus for today is on these first 4 words: carrying his own cross. The physical body of Jesus dies, comes back to life again in 3 days. But before all that happens, first he had to carry the cross. And most importantly, he himself, no one else, but he himself had to carry his cross in order to fulfill his purpose. He himself had to carry his own cross in order to fulfill his God-given purpose. In order to fulfill your God-given purpose, you also will have to carry your cross, and that too all by yourself. Before we move any further, we need to understand and accept one thing here, that for everyone who is in this path, the path of light, for everyone who wants to attend to the call of God, surely there will be a cross. Surely. How do I know that for sure? Because I drink coffee and I know things. I'm joking. Well, I say that surely there will be a cross, mainly basing on what Jesus said. Jesus said that unless you carry the cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. That means if you want to be in this path, there will be a cross. That is inevitable. And I say that for sure, basing a little bit on my own personal journey as well. It's a fact. It's a fact that there is going to be a cross for anyone and everyone who is in this spiritual journey or in this path. And if we want to understand this clearly, look at the journey. Look at the life journey of Jesus Christ. it will give us a clarity, an encouragement, and a hope. So, look at the life journey of Christ on this earth. From the time he was reincarnated on this earth to the time he was ascended into the heavens, it tells us clearly that his mission, his journey started from the minute he was born. Actually, as a matter of fact, it had begun right when the fall of mankind had happened. But talking from a physical life's perspective, his journey to what he was meant to fulfill had started the moment he was born. What I'm saying is this, that for Jesus in his journey, the persecutions did not start just after he was inaugurated through baptism by John, or they didn't start just when he began to preach the kingdom of God. For him, the cross did not happen just on the last day of his life when he got killed. Those trials, the challenges, the persecutions, and the cross all had started right at his birth when he was born. When King Herod ordered to kill all the male children under 2 years in Bethlehem, due to which Mary and Joseph had to literally flee to Egypt. Take a moment and imagine the situation where you are the target to be killed, family displaced, trying to flee or trying to hide. How testing, how challenging that would have been. Can you imagine? I'd say that is nothing less than carrying a cross. Won't you agree? So, for Jesus, carrying a cross had already begun while he was a just born baby. And this was a precise sign that Jesus had a huge spiritual mission that he had to fulfill in his earthly journey. Later in his life, when he started preaching love and forgiveness, they started to doubt him. When he started to heal people with the power of God, they accused him that he's doing all that with the power of devil. He was questioned, he was ridiculed, and he was shamed publicly. His own brothers, can you imagine? His own brothers did not believe him. People doubted him. They have even tried to stone him. They tried to beat him in the public when he was preaching. Many times it happened. And his own disciples abandoned him. They left him all alone. They denied him on that night at the time of his crucifixion. Now, don't you think all that abandonment, humiliation, rejection, all that shame, all that is nothing, don't you think all that is nothing less than carrying a physical cross? He was put to cross like this many times before the actual final physical cross happened on that last day. His last day's physical cross is only a culminating event of his journey. But we must remember to look at his journey in totality, in which everything is connected. So, not to take any event, please remember not to take any event as a separate, standalone, random event. And you being in this spiritual journey, You, being a believer, perhaps you also should not look at any event in your life as a separate, standalone chapter. Look at it as a whole, in totality. Well, I hope you got what I said. Right, with all that as background as our standpoint, now, my friend, in life, in your life, perhaps you also are going through trials. And you may be carrying the cross due to your decision to be in the path of God. Whether you made the decision consciously or not, when you are set to be on such a journey, a path to follow God, you also will have a cross to carry, and that too all by yourself, all alone. Because this journey, this path you're on, it's not something that you take on your 2 feet, that you may have some company. It's a journey that you take in your heart, one heart. So it's bound to be alone. And that's why your journey is your journey alone. And your cross is your own cross. No one can carry it for you. When Jesus was carrying the cross in the streets of Jerusalem, Cyrenian Simon comes and carries the cross for Jesus just for a short, brief time. And a woman brings some water for him. But Jesus had to continue carrying his own cross, to the finish point. When you are in your journey, sure, people might help you a bit here and there, but mostly crowds stand by, but they won't be able to carry it for you. They won't be. You have to get up. You have to get up and carry the cross all by yourself. So please don't expect that someone, your spouse, your friend, or probably your spiritual mentor or your spiritual guide, or your pastor, or somebody will help you all along. I mean, they may help you a bit here and there. They might support you, but they won't be able to carry it. They won't be able to carry the cross for you. They can't. And that may be because they might also have a cross which they're already carrying. They may have their own cross to carry, We don't know. I mean, who knows? Remember that, and you will never be upset again when people don't come and help you. Remember that. And as I said in the beginning, for Jesus, his spiritual journey didn't start when he was baptized or when he started to preach. The challenges, the persecutions, they all started right from his birth, because Satan knew Jesus' purpose, and so he wanted to destroy it. Similarly, in your life also, you were already set to be in this path even before you have realized, or even before a major transformation occurred. And so, sometimes, to disturb you in your spiritual journey, those challenges, failures, and persecutions may have happened, or they may be still happening, because Satan knows your purpose and he wants to destroy that. And also, sometimes such challenges happen to activate to just activate you and to propel you in your spiritual journey, which had already begun. You didn't know, you didn't realize, but that's a different thing. You just didn't know. And sometimes they bring about the awakening in us. They bring about the awakening in us. Let me share something with you all. My brother-in-law, today in his life, he is being very instrumental in God's kingdom in his own capacity, in his own way. But in his younger years, he had no clue at all that he was going to be in the spiritual path and one day will be used as an instrument in God's kingdom. So, a few years back, when he was in his early 30s, a major life and death challenge had happened. I think he was probably around 28, 29. So a major life and death challenge had happened in his life. Literally a life and death challenge. I mean, he was literally on the death's door. That challenge was like a huge cross, which he had to carry all alone. I mean, sure, the family supported him. The family stood by, but it was something that he had to go through all alone. Painful, frightening, deadly. And that challenge happened in his life because Satan wanted to destroy his journey. But guess what? God took that situation and he used it in a way that it just awakened him. It just awakened my brother-in-law and pushed him, propelled him in his spiritual path. So, if you see this, his spiritual journey did not begin when he got out of the challenge and turned towards God. It actually happened because he was already set in his journey to be in God's path. And so to destroy that, Satan used the deadly challenge and got him right on the death's door. But anyways, that became an awakening in his life. And today, he is being used as an instrument in God's kingdom in his own way. Another example, a friend of mine, an amazing soul. For her spiritual journey already had started when she was just an innocent young girl who gets married and was suddenly faced with this huge challenge of giving birth to a child, to a baby girl who has an untreatable, lifelong disability, incurable. And this was nothing less than carrying a cross. And to this day, this lady, this friend of mine, she is carrying her cross cheerfully. So in fact, this event happened in her life as a test. It happened as a test to her enormous strength to be able to carry on her spiritual journey, which already had started long before she was confronted with this challenge. It just happened as a test, as a challenge in her spiritual journey that had already started when she was just a teenage girl. What am I saying? I'm saying these trials, these challenges, and these persecutions are no less than carrying a heavy cross. I'm saying all these tests happen because either you're going to be set on this spiritual path, or you have already embarked on the spiritual ship. So, don't ever think that your journey with God starts only after you come to God, or after you transform, or after you get baptized. Your transformation, or your baptism, or you coming on this path consciously, all that are positive steps that you initiate in your journey. But please understand that your journey may have started long before that. Remember that, and understand and accept. And remember, just because you're on the path of God, don't always expect that nice and sweet and spectacular things happen. In fact, it may be quite the opposite. People may question you. They may reject you. They may break your heart. They may break your heart with their words and actions. Your own family might hurt you. They may be indifferent towards what you do. They may doubt you. They may just take you easy. Your good friend, your own good close friend, could turn into your enemy. Like how Judas turned into betrayer. Your good friend could turn into your Judas. People may purposely hurt you. They may question your desire to carry God's light, His love, and His word. All that can be questioned by people. They may doubt it. They may doubt your purpose. They may and sometimes even worse, what could happen is people may purposely remind you of your past sins and wrongdoings that could slow you down, potentially that could slow you down in your journey. But, please do not succumb to all that. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just take all that as a blessing and carry on. And know that every setback is a milestone in your journey. When you look back into your journey, every setback that you had faced would have been, or they would have become, a milestone, and you today will stand and you would say that indeed that setback was a milestone. Finally, my friends, physically, it may have seemed as though Jesus was alone. But He was never alone. Jesus was never alone. God the Father was always with Him. It might seem that you too are alone. So you may feel lonely. You might fall. You might thirst, not able to understand what is happening. And you may be crying bitterly in yourself. You may be shedding secret tears, not knowing that all this, in fact, is a part of God's bigger plan. Know this, my friend. You are not alone. Jesus himself is with you because he knows exactly what you're going through. Because he went through all that. He carried that cross of pain, that cross of humiliation, challenges, doubts, and all that. So he understands. That's why he is with you. And God the Father himself is with you. So carry your cross cheerfully, willingly, and sincerely, because your cross will lead you to the fulfillment of your God-given purpose. So continue carrying your cross, knowing well that your journey on this path is not to be dead and buried, but to rise again, to resurrect. Your cross will lead you to your resurrection. And in that process itself, in the journey to your own resurrection, not only will you rise, but you will also rise others around you. God bless.